So thank you guys for having me out today. My name is Roy Corey. I have a studio in Newport Beach, RK Fitness. I do a lot of golf fitness and movement restoration. When I was asked to come out and speak to you guys today for the Youth Golf Summit, I was trying to think of where do you begin when you talk about training juniors. It's such a broad topic. There was some pretty cool banter towards the end of the keynote presenters deal earlier this morning, so I'm going to probably pick up a little bit where they left off. There's some good chat about what do you do with a 5-year-old or what do you do with a 13-year-old as far as their training or as far as their swing instruction. So what I thought of today was to go over what's known as different training windows through a junior's life. You guys kind of familiar with this stuff? Show of hands, anybody? Anybody go through the TPI junior program? Not junior? Wow, I got no hands. All right, cool. So this hopefully is new information for some of you. If you have gone through it, hopefully it's just like a good refresher or a good reminder for you guys. So when you look at juniors and you think about how kids develop, show of hands, how many people here have kids, like your own personal kids? Quite a few, right? So we know when kids are born and they're growing up, there's certain movement milestones that we're looking for, right? By about 3 months, you want to see that they can roll from their back to their belly. A certain point, you want to see that they can crawl, walk, talk, all these things. But after they kind of start walking and talking, we don't really talk about their movement development anymore. But that doesn't really stop. Okay? That's something that we as coaches that work with kids need to be aware of. Kids continue to grow and develop, and there's a lot of different training phases that we can really take these kids through to help them maximize their overall athleticism for not just golf, but for all sports. So today we're going to talk a little bit about our speed windows. Anybody familiar with the different speed windows that the human body can go through? So we have 2 main speed windows that we can take a person through to really help them maximize their genetic ceiling or their genetic potential, right? We always hear he's reached the limit of his genetic potential. But how do we push that ceiling a little bit more? If we can take these kids as they're growing through their different phases of training, we can actually help elevate that ceiling and help them be greater athletes as they go on through their lives. So a little bit different for boys and girls, but our first speed window tends to be between the ages of 6 to 9. And then our second speed window tends to be between the ages of, I believe it's 13 to 16. If you guys want specific notes, I can email you guys after the show. But during these speed windows, it's important to start teaching kids how to move quickly. In the earlier times, we want to teach the kids how to be able to accelerate in multiple directions, forward, backward, side to side in rotation. And we want to start training them to be comfortable doing that in shorter time frames because they're learning to move quickly neurologically. We don't want to fry them out. As kids get a little bit older in that older time frame, we want to push them into their conditioning, or if you guys are kind of familiar with fitness, you might have heard of like high intensity interval training. We'd take that sort of approach to working with juniors for helping them increase their speed and power. So for today, all of my juniors are in school, so I couldn't bring any out to demo, but I do have one of my clients here. His name is Tane Lee. Come on up, Tane. Tane is a touring professional. We're getting him ready for his season, and I thought it would be nice to kind of take him through what we do for some of his speed training, and since it would be directly applicable to you guys, I'm going to take him through some of the super speed kit work. Does anybody have super speed kits? Are we familiar with it? Got a couple hands up. So I'm going to take Tane through what I do with him. It'll be kind of appropriate for some of the junior training, but if you guys have questions as we're going through, we can definitely go through some of that. So Tane, why don't you start up with the green, and we'll just kind of get your base speeds going. So for Tane, he's a pretty high level golfer. We're working on his speed, kind of staying where it is, taking it up a little bit. You got that? There you go. Swing away. So all I'm gonna have Tane do to start warming up, and this would be really cool for both the little kids as well as the like high school age juniors. This is a really nice way to get their brains and their bodies warming up for their swing. All I'm gonna have Tane do is 5 swings to his dominant hand side. So he's a righty, swinging righty. What are our speeds at roughly? Okay, 117, 118, got 116 on the board. And then I'm gonna have him do a few swings as a left-handed golfer. Does anybody train their kids to swing both directions? Show of hands. Got 1, cool. So I really, got a couple, good. So I really encourage trying to get the kids, not really so much like skill-wise good swinging to their non-dominant side, but speed-wise good. As they grow up, what ends up happening is their bodies get so good to their dominant side, they never really learn how to unload to their non-dominant side, and we'll start seeing speed, swing speed become affected as they grow up. What are we looking at there?
98.
98. So,
Still working on that.
so we're working on lefty. So Tane was swinging as a right-handed golfer, kind of peaked him at 119 today. As a lefty, he was peaking at 98. What does that tell me as a fitness trainer about his body? Kind of goes back to what I just mentioned. He's getting so good at winding up as a righty, he's going to have a hard time unwinding to become more dynamic in his right-handed swing. So for Tane, and this might be applicable to the older junior crowd, I find we get speed increases with him if we work on addressing some of his mobility. So Tane, if you don't mind, I'm going to have you pull one of the mats out, and I'm going to have you start working on, your basic rotational warm-up drill. I'll just kind of talk about it as we go through. Anybody have any questions so far? Am I stammering? I feel pressed for time with lunch coming up. I'm as hungry as you guys are. No? Upper spine. All right, if you guys have questions, please feel free. Pretty easy going about this stuff. So for Tane, part of his regular regimen is making sure he has adequate mobility in rotation. I'm having him rotate here as a right-handed golfer to his right side, and just really looking at the quality and length of motion through his shoulder, through his thoracic spine, and the ability to stabilize his pelvis. It's not looking too bad. He's been swinging a little bit this morning. Go ahead and switch sides for me. So when he goes side to side, I'm really looking for a difference. Is there a big asymmetry there? How's that feel on this side? It's okay. So he's looking pretty good. His hips are rocking. We're losing a little bit of that lower body stability, but it's actually moving pretty good. Go ahead and bring it up into all fours next. So I'm very much a proponent when I have the time and the ability to take somebody from the ground and work them up into standing. This kind of follows a lot of our developmental learning patterns. Go ahead and go into your all fours rotation. Let's go right side first. And when we start on the ground on his side as he was, he's very supported by the ground. It makes it kind of easy to rotate as gravity's helping him. Now he's starting to work against gravity. I just want to make sure we're maximizing our turn, push harder through that left arm. There you go. And having to work against gravity, we're starting to unwind his body and get his brain even more prepared to rotate. Good. There you go. So once you get 5 there, let's bring it up to the half kneeling. From all fours, I'll take him into a kneeling position. We'll continue to drive that rotation, and then I'm going to incorporate some of the speed sticks back in. We're going to try and see if we can get his lefty swing up, because for me, I want to see a right-handed swing speed and a left-handed swing speed between about 3 to 5 miles an hour. All right, for my kids, for my little kids, I'm talking like that 6, 7, 8-year-old range. I want to see it equal, because they are at the time in their life where they can develop that athleticism. As they get a little bit older, as they get really good playing golf, I realize there's going to be an asymmetry. They probably will never be completely equal, and I want Tane to strive to getting more towards that 3 to 5 mile an hour difference. So go for it. Show me your 5 half kneeling rotations each direction. So after he finishes these back up, I'm going to take him back into some of the swing speed drills here. Anybody have any questions so far? No? All right, dude, come on up. Did you go straight to blue?
No, I just went.
Okay, cool.
No, green first.
All right, good. Let's go green. So if you guys haven't used the Super Speed kits, I think they're actually a really cool tool. They probably, in my opinion, should be in every one of your guys' teaching bags. They go from a lighter club and they step up towards a heavier club. And basically what they're doing is they're neurologically tricking you to moving faster. So the brain starts learning how to move a little bit quicker, and you'll see generally an increase within a session. But that doesn't mean it just stays there. It's something that the athlete is going to have to continue to work and progress. So for us, this is a pretty regular part of his training to help keep his swing speed up. Let's go ahead and go back to 5 swings righty, 5 swings lefty when you're ready. So 125 on his first swing. That was just after doing a little bit of mobility work. And he was actually pretty limber today. He was looser than I usually see him. 126. 126. 126 again. And 127. Nice. So let's check out lefty. Let's see if that's come up a little bit.
Now, is the weight of that club getting heavier?
This is on the lighter end of the spectrum. They go to more heavier from this.
Start out with light,
Yeah,
and you're working.
light to heavy. So let's see what this.
This is the same one I used the first time.
Actually, he had the heavier one on there earlier. So this is actually the lighter one. So, did you have the same? Maybe I grabbed the wrong one. Yeah. Whiffed it. Go again. A little bit lower. 110. 114. 118. Give me one more. 114. So for 2 to 3 minutes worth of stretching, to see a jump in speed that much, is that something we think we can incorporate for our littles, especially our high school people? I think it's well worthwhile, right? This is without even stepping up and moving into the heavier club protocols, which we'll have him do a little bit. He's kind of, I know this guy, and he's kind of getting towards the top end of that righty speed. I think we want to try and milk a little more at it. How you feeling?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. All right. So I think we'll try and squeeze a little bit more out of him. We'll see what we get for today. But how we doing on time? We good for lunch? You guys want to hang out and watch a little bit? See if I can get. Everybody's like, yeah. All right. So let's do this then. What did you have a bigger deficit side on, the dominant side or the non-dominant side? Non-dominant, right? I want to see him between 3 to 5 miles an hour. I want to see if we can get him working a little bit harder as a non-dominant or a lefty swinger. What happens to the dominant side swing speed? So let's step up. Let's go. Let's keep that one for now. Let's work on our step turn swing lefty.
The one step or have you go?
Let's go one step. I don't want to risk the.
We would do Happy Gilmore if there was a bigger match.
Yeah, I have them do a few different drills. If you guys go on their website, they have a ton of cool drills on there. But for him, kind of knowing his body and knowing what he usually needs, there's a few drills I'll kind of cater to him. Can anybody see that radar from over there? What's he looking at?
I got 19 on the last one.
119. All right. Good.
122.
All right, let's go. Go blue. So I'm just going to have him go through this one drill, working on trying to get him to load his non-dominant side. I'm going to take him up through the weights, and then we'll pull him back and see what happens with his dominant side. Same thing. We'll go 5 just as you're ready.
109.
How's that looking?
110.
110. So we're losing a little bit of speed, but the weight of the club is heavier. right? It's a little bit tougher to move as quickly with the heavier implement. We'll bump you up one more. You can take your time in between if you need a little breather, but we'll go red, 5 that way, and then we'll retest. How you feeling, by the way? You getting tired? If you guys haven't done a protocol like this, it becomes very neurally fatiguing, meaning your body will get tired if you do the full protocol, but your brain will get tired faster, right? It's hard to continue to produce this speed. So with him especially, I'm always checking to see how's your fatigue, how's all that, because I don't want him to go backwards with it. How's it looking? 107. All right, cool. So take a little breather. When you're ready, let's go back to green since we started there, and we'll go dominant side.
What was that?
Anybody remember his top end speed with green? Dominant 128? 127? Okay. How you feeling?
Good.
Let's see what we get.
I had to make noise.
All right, boy, let's go.
Where you go? You can do a step in or
Let's do a step. Let's do our step first. Let's see how that goes. Watch that little marker. All right. 130. 127. 133. 131. Let's go. One more, boy. You got this. 129. So, that was pretty damn good. I think that's the most I've seen you go at. That's freaking awesome. How you feeling? Good? Cool. So, little bit of mobility work, little bit of neural training can have a pretty good carry both into the player's ability to generate speed, but also into their, we're talking about it earlier in the talks up there, their confidence, their self-esteem, stuff like that. If you can show them ways that they can produce this stuff, you can really get an athlete to change. And just bringing it back to what we're talking about, or what I was talking about earlier, if we can match this stuff to when their body is developing into their speed windows, you can really light some kids' brains up, make them really strong, really kind of top out their speed as they grow up and carry on hopefully into playing for college or.
I can share like what happened at the range last time.
Please, yeah.
The last time I was struggling with speed for a while. For some reason, I was working on swing stuff or neurologically, I don't know what happened, but my speed went down to like low teens and even single digits. So we started working more with this stuff. And I know here we just have a mat, not hitting balls and whatnot with the real driver, but I was in, like I said, I was like 108 to 110 with the driver, and we had the radar out hitting full drivers, and I was kind of skeptical how much this stuff could actually do. We went through very similar protocol to this, did a lot of stretching stuff, and then we did super speed stuff, then went back out to the range, and we saw crazy increases. I got up to the mid 120s.
Yeah.
And that was
consistently.
the same morning. So.
Consistently. I was really hoping to be able to do this on the range just to kind of replicate, but unfortunately we had to make do up here. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty powerful stuff. Thank you for letting me pull you up here to put you on the spot. But yeah, for today, I know we're pressing very close to lunchtime and everybody's pretty hungry. So unless you guys have any questions, those are kind of the bigger takeaways that I wanted to get for today. Let's make sure when we're working with juniors, there's appropriate training windows where we can really maximize their speed or their skill or their strength. And we have plenty of tools out there. It doesn't take a whole lot, some simple stuff that you guys can easily replicate out on the range. Or if you guys have somebody local in your area that specializes in working with juniors, there's some really good info to really help bring your kids up if that's some stuff that they need. So if there are no questions, thank you guys for hanging out and sitting through before your lunch. Clapping for myself, but All right, guys, I'll be around through lunch if anybody has any questions.